Thanks for tuning into the Market Wrap. I'm Niraj Shah, and fun and games in the session today. You would have to admit. I think a lot of people are, as I've been saying in the trade setup as well, getting unduly perturbed about Georgia. I don't think too many people even knew about the importance of this small state until recently, but suddenly everybody's an expert on what the Georgian verdict would do to equity markets world over. From what little I've read, it'll not do too much, but again, I could be wrong too. But let's wait and watch. What the markets did today, though, that's the important thing that we discussed today, right? So let's get the indices up on the screen. First, the Nifty, and the MRR chart kind of hides the volatility. Maybe we can try and pull up the Nifty chart too, but first, let's just stick to this and try and tell you what did well and what did not. So about 0.5% lower, and some biggies came under pressure. So Reliance Industries down about 2.5%, ITC about 3%, and I don't know if it's got to do with this whole conversation around taxes and the legal age of smoking, 100 meters distance within education, all of that leading to this, but 3% down ITC. Yesterday's prime gainer Axis Bank, which was up 6% yesterday, down about 1.7%. There's some weakness in IT with TCS and HCL Technologies too coming off. So there were some pain points. What did well? All the ones which don't have too much of weightage. So if you see the top 6 names, all of them did very well, but the weightage on them collectively must not be even 10% on the Nifty. That's the problem. that the ones which moved didn't have too much of weightage. ICICI Bank has some weightage, but that one moved only about 1.5%. Bharti Airtel had a reasonably okay outing too in the session. The question remains, of course, if Bharti's done this court case about the dues, and if succeeds, then actually one of the bigger beneficiaries could be Vodafone Idea. So it'll be interesting to see what that one does too. But as I said, if we can bring up the Nifty intraday, it'll be great. And otherwise, then we can also move on to the broader end of the spectrum data, which is the MOV function on the terminal, which will show you how the market breadth was in the session today. And I dare say that with the way some of the stocks came off today, some bit of profit booking that happened, the breadth would be a bit negative compared to the last few days, I must say. So we'll get that data up on the screen as well. It was interesting to note, though, this is, of course, the Nifty, as I said, and the close kind of hides the kind of volatility that was there in the markets. So as you can see, fairly choppy in the last couple of hours of trade. But the broader end of the spectrum, let's get that going. The MOV function on the terminal, which will show you the advanced declines for the markets today, and 194 advancing to 304 declining, as you can see in the column which is titled time range. So up about 194, down 204. So the market breadth wasn't the most positive. Amber Enterprises had this report, I think, from Credit Suisse, if I'm not wrong, which upped the target to about 3,000. That stock did 10% today. Vinati Organics had this big sharp up move today, 8.5%, and it stayed that way. It's really good going. SBI Cards and Payment. Remember, Kotak Securities recently came out with a note at the start of the year, if I'm not wrong, talking about how bullish they are on this franchise. And that one was up about 6% in the session. Some strength for Naveen Fluorine, up about 4.5%. Container Corporation of India had a very good move. And IGL at 540. That's the second day of gains for this one. What didn't do well? Venky's. The cases of bird flu that are starting to come up in the target markets, probably leading to this risk off for Venky's. The last 2 or 3 sessions, it's really come off. Info had saw some gravity today, down about 4%. Spark and Lupin also had a bit of a pullback in the session today. And so did Aarti Industries. So while specialty chemical companies by and large did well, Aarti couldn't do well. And that one corrected about 3% in the session. So that was largely what the broader end of the spectrum did. You have to admit that today the action was a bit lackluster. It'll be very interesting to see if there's a change in the foreign institutional investor flows, and we will keep an eye out for that as well. And that aside, of course, we will all be watching out for how the different global markets react, because that will set the tone for the remainder of the week. 2 more days left. We have the earnings season starting Friday. But until then, it'll be important to see what the world markets are doing. Now, as you can see, Europe is not getting unduly bothered. The European, forget the top half, because that's the US markets closed yesterday. But the second column, which is EMEA, has got these European indices, and most of them are trading with green. So, which is why I was saying that I think the market got unduly perturbed. It's not such a big deal to my mind. And let's wait and watch if tomorrow is more a return to sanity of sorts for the Indian markets as well. Maybe a bit of it would depend on how the Dow and S&P do in trade today. So that is something that all of us need to keep an eye out for. Now, viewers, remember, tomorrow is the first weekly options expiry for the year. And it'll be interesting to see how some of the stocks in banking particularly have the volumes and the price reactions thereof. So that's something we should watch out for. And then, of course, there are some couple of small names, but the larger ones start trickling in with results Friday. So that is something we'll keep a keen eye out for. Have a great evening and stay safe. And I'll see you with the trade setup tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Indian time.